Hello, my friends. My name is Carson Barlow, and welcome to Humanity 3.0. Intro. So let me tell you a little bit about my journey. So I had spent most of my life as a Mormon. I grew up in the church and learned about Jesus and his teachings about love one another. Those teachings had resonated with me, and I wanted to be a disciple. And it wasn't too long before I was indoctrinated. So when I was a teenager, there was an anti-gay legislation that was trying to pass. And like a good Christian soldier, I went out and put signs up to promote that legislation. Years later, after I had served a 2-year mission, the gay rights movement had started up again. So at about this time, my friend sat me down and explained to me what the movement was about. He helped me see that it was more than just gay people wanting to shit on marriage or something, but that they wanted to be able to build a deep and meaningful relationship with one another. And just like I was, out wife hunting and wanting to find that special someone that I could build a life with, so did those in the LGBT community. This blew my mind, and it resonated deeply with my core value of love one another. At this point, I kept on the fence whenever the church came out with anti-gay initiatives. After about 7 or 8 years, I had decided to leave the church. It wasn't until after careful consideration that I had decided that the plan of happiness didn't manifest what a benevolent God would be like. And soon after, I had studied the Bible some more and saw all of God's policies of genocide and slavery and decided that I could no longer throw in with such a God. And that if such a God did exist, that he was simply not worthy of my worship. I felt so angry at the church. I felt betrayed, manipulated, deceived. And yes, while a lot of my Mormon friends were cool with me not going to church anymore, I still felt like I had to make new friends. And that was a very difficult transition for me. And even after I had gotten my bearings, I still had a rather pronounced bias against whatever the church did or taught. I even found myself passively harassing my Mormon friends on Facebook by asking them questions that I knew they didn't have the answers to. So let me get this straight, Carson. You didn't like how an organization betrayed your values of loving one another, so you decided to passively harass and hate members of that organization? Yep. Once I realized that I could agree with some of the things in the Mormon Church while still being true to my values, I had a much easier time getting along with my Mormon friends. In fact, this even let me reevaluate some of the teachings of the church, and I actually found some rather noteworthy things. Have you heard of the Bishop's Storehouse? I mean, that is an amazing example of a social policy that works. Not to mention that it follows beautifully with my value of loving one another. Okay, well, what's my point in all this? That's a good question. What am I trying to say here? I guess what I'm trying to say is that it was my values that determined my beliefs, not the other way around. And admittedly, yes, I did lose sight of my values from time to time when I got caught up in my beliefs. Whether that belief was that the gospel of Jesus Christ was again restored to the earth, or that the Mormon Church was an evil cesspool of lies and deceit. In both cases, I believe I was wrong. And it wasn't until I was able to decouple my values from my beliefs was I able to make peace with that. This makes me wonder, how many of my other values are being shortchanged by my beliefs? In fact, how many of my beliefs have I adopted because someone knew how to exploit my values? Whoa, wait a minute, do I actually have a decent grasp of what my values actually are? Existential crisis? Nah. Existential challenge. Challenge accepted. Stay classy, my friends.